Hello, my name is Harriton Watko. You're in the second part of our topic on One Road, One Belt policy of China, which they've just launched last week, and we have Professor Gil Santos with us. Gil, okay, so China borrows heavily.
Yes.
They will go build in the next 5, 10 years, because
Yeah.
this is not going to happen in 5 or 3 years. Even 5 years is going to be difficult, but they will be making inroads.
Yes.
Now, all this financing, maybe, or obviously, it's all tied into the One Asia Bank, obviously, that they've set up,
Yeah.
their new international bank, di ba, so to
It's
speak.
called the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank.
The
Yes.
AIIB will obviously use this as one of their front projects, so to speak. So if China goes into heavy debt and they're looking at long-term returns, where is the stability there that their money, that they will stay afloat, considering that they're not exactly going forward now, they're going back?
Yeah. Well,
Not to mention the pollution that they've caused to
exactly,
themselves.
exactly. This is what I was going into.
Okay.
You know, what happens here is that the Chinese are trying to get the renminbi or the yuan into the mainstream of
They've
the
been
world
trying
market.
that the last
Yeah.
2-3 years.
But they have not succeeded. The dollar and the pound, the
Dominates.
franc, the Swiss franc, and so forth are still dominant. Even the Japanese yen. Now, here's the point. The Chinese are going to lose if the American economy recovers, at least it's now indicating it is recovering. 250,000 jobs, new jobs last month is an indication at all. Now, when that happens, the dollar becomes stronger, and the yuan becomes weaker, because the Chinese economy is expected to slow down.
Yeah, slow down a bit.
When that happens, then China is going to have more indebtedness, much deeper in debt, and that might be the Waterloo. We don't know, because I don't think the Chinese are going to just sit and take it sitting down.
But the financial position to date, meaning now, they have what, $2 trillion on bonds of the U.S.
Yes, but
US
the U.S. is not scared at all. Why?
mukha nga eh.
Because their money is the predominant currency in the world, and therefore they just keep on printing money. They're out of the gold standard. You know?
Tabagay, wala nang Bretton Woods.
Well,
Quantitative easing na lang, just keep printing.
Exactly, as far as they're concerned, they can incur more debts.
And they have the biggest market in the world by far. And naunahan uli nila in China. And China went back. Nandun na sila number 2. Are they still number 2? They
Number
went
two.
back.
Number two,
naunahan na nila Japan. Okay.
Now, ang mangyayari niya ngayon is because of the dollar strengthening and the purchasing power of the American consumer is much bigger, you might have some kind of political unrest in China. How is that?
Yeah, how is that? Please explain.
Because the farmers are the ones producing the food. If they're going to have all this pollution, there's going to be a problem of environment. Because Xi Jinping last week, Thursday in fact, said, and this did not come out in any one of our newspapers. Why? Because we're more concerned about the Marawi slaying and so forth, no? But he said the pollution, the environmental degradation of China is getting worse, and we must reverse it. Now, this is very, very important, but did not find print here. I don't know, in other places it probably did. But what it means is he is admitting they are going to have food and water security problem.
Going on the environment, can you actually reverse it? Or, if I'm not mistaken, you can only stop the degradation. Reversing it will take hundreds of years.
Well, and a lot of investment.
Yeah, if you polluted the waters, you've cut the mountain down. I mean, worse here. I mean, we have governors that have actually killed the mountains, as Gina Lopez has said, di ba, to Zamora.
Yeah.
Ninakaw nyo yung bundok, di ba? At binenta nyo, di ba? I mean,
At hindi lang yun, ang mangyayari niyan, the farmers in China will now complain. Why are we getting less than your manufacturing
Kami
workers.
nagpapakain sa inyo.
Oh, kami nagbibigay sa inyo ng pagkain.
And why did the
Bakit?
city make more?
Yes. Why don't you give us what's due us? Now, if that happens, plus all the other territorial disputes it has with Tibet, you know, that can ignite, and it might. I'm not saying it will. It might cause an implosion.
So the new war, I think, if ever there was any, is not necessarily just the nuclear armamentation or the nuclear threats that are going around, but food security.
Mas malaki yun. That is bigger, you know. Even for us, if right now the situation in the Philippines is we don't have that kind of negative, positive pollution,
surplus,
no?
wala naman.
Neutral pa tayo.
Neutral.
Kokonti pa, hindi pa masyado. But
We're well on our way.
Well on our way, and so is the rest of Southeast Asia. They're going to wind, solar, and water, you know, which is very good. Look at Norway. Norway is the only country with all hydro. No nuclear, no nothing else, no? But it's cheap, and it's effective, and in the long term, it's
Pero
much
maliit
cheaper.
lang Norway, even their population is quite
maliit.
small.
6
Maliit.
million.
Yeah, maliit na maliit.
Maliit lang
But
yun.
all considering, China is dependent on coal.
Yes,
They
which is
have-
the biggest pollutant.
And they don't have, they don't really have the minerals in their land for food production. Not all.
No, no.
It's some barren areas.
Yes.
Marami-rami, in fact.
Yeah.
Plus the population being gargantuan as it is,
Yeah.
it's a heavier load for the farmers,
Yes.
so to speak. Now,
And they have to import the food. Because
ayun.
remember, they have 1.3 billion people.
Sobra.
And they're aging. You know? Yun ang problema. Because what it means is they don't have the purchasing power that the Americans and the Europeans and even the South Americans have. Or even India, you know. But in the long run, if their economy goes down further, because they're slowing down, then it will spell more political, economic, social problems in China. I'm sure that Xi Jinping and company are not sitting down and taking this.
But to
easily.
say they have to reverse it, I don't think you can reverse environmental destruction. You can stop and minimize abuse, but it's very difficult to reverse that. You will
Remember-
suffer the consequence
Yeah.
of the actions that you have already done.
Remember, in the 2008 Olympic Games in China, they had to stop 25% of their factories
Para
just
clear the
not to
smoke.
have the haze in the Olympic game site, you know.
They're back at
Otherwise-
it again now, actually.
Yes, they're back at it again.
They're back at it.
Shanghai, by God.
Hindi ka na makahinga dun eh.
Hindi lang yun. Yung makikita mo, the distance of visibility is getting shorter. Now,
Limited na.
with the kind of people they have and the aging people, you can imagine how many tuberculars do they have. It is not publicized because they control the media. But I'm sure it's big. It's big.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
that is going to be a problem.
So we need to understand the new role of China and not just assume that they're going to be as big as they are today. Wherein many businessmen are thinking, hindi matibay yan, China yan eh. So in other words, there is, as much as China propels itself into a new era, a new stage that they've created, that they're going forward, let's be wary.
Yes.
Is
let us
your
be-
message.
Because it's going to affect us. It's going to affect us. You're now exporting mangoes, bananas, pineapples, coconuts to
Yes.
China. Now, if their economy slows down, they cannot buy that. You'll have to find other markets.
Well, that's why he was in Russia. That's why the president was in Russia.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm saying Duterte, I think, is taking the right track when it comes to that, because he's trying to sell to everybody. Be friendly to everybody.
Be friendly to
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
No, even to the UK, now that the UK is going to go into the Brexit, they're going to need straight trade,
Yeah.
not
I can
necessarily with the
see.
EU.
I can see one venue for the British. You see, they have the Commonwealth countries, and that's a big association. It's the second biggest in the world, a network of trading, and they're going to use that because when the pound gets cheaper, it's going to be better for the Commonwealth countries to be manufacturing, and they can share it with they can share it with London. You know,
with
it's
the
as
UK.
simple as that.
With
Yes.
the UK. Assuming they don't break apart themselves. I mean, mukhang the politics of today is falling apart everywhere else, di ba?
Yeah.
So it seems. So we have to be very careful on how we should look at China talaga.
Yes.
Kasi akala ng marami, well, you know, it's interesting, no? China takes out a full-colored page every Tuesday at the Philippine Star. They promote the politics that they enjoy or what they wish to promote. Every weekend with consistency in the last year or 2 years, telling us exactly how great they are and where they're going.
Yeah.
So, just because you're big on the block doesn't mean you're going to remain on top in the block
No,
as well.
no.
Yan ang problema.
Oh, yan ang problema. That's why what we need now is to get better, accurate, and timely information. This is the information age, Harry. Don't
Yes,
forget
yes,
it.
yes,
You know?
yes.
So what we need is to invest in education to get our people, younger generation, to have more critical thinking and encourage inventions. Because unless we encourage inventions, we're not going to get the production mechanics or the production technologies that will increase productivity.
But even without the inventions, at least, ang nangyari sa atin since the 60s, since we were already well on our way towards industrialization, we turned around, stopped, and started selling our assets. Parang ganun ang nangyari. We don't even have a steel manufacturing industry. I mean, you know, and yet we sell all our mining goods, so
Yes.
to speak. Diba? It's
Raw
ridiculous.
materials.
Raw materials.
Yes.
Diba? From copper to everything else, nickel, etc. I don't understand that, but ganun ang sitwasyon eh.
If you look at the history of our country, it goes back to 1948, 49, 50, when the Liberal Party decided to have what they called import substitute
Ayun.
economy.
Hindi, kasi mas maraming income sa
Yes.
importation.
Oh, marami din corruption doon.
Maraming corruption nga, maraming income makukuha.
Oo.
Kesa starting from grassroots, building it up,
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
Kulang tayo sa industriya eh.
Yun, kaya wala tayong export halos. Ang
Correct.
export natin, puro raw material.
Raw materials.
Puro bananas, you know, fruits, mango. Oh, pero hanggang kailan yun? Kaya, until when are they going to be bloated with mangoes and bananas? And how much can they really absorb? You know, what we should do now is look at Europe, look at South America, look at the BRICS.
The BRIC
The
countries.
BRICS. Brazil, Russia,
Russia.
India,
India,
China, yes, but South Africa. Because South Africa is silently but surely and steadily projecting itself to be a real good and powerful economy. It may be number 4, number 5. You know, you can never tell in the next 10 years.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, many of them are indebted to China to date. Cambodia, what
Myanmar,
else?
Laos, yes.
Laos. Yung tatlo.
Yes.
Which is why they always side with China when it comes. That's why even with us, we have, in fact, the biggest challenge is going to be in November when we have the ASEAN,
Yes.
and whether we can bring up the zero that we have a problem with China. The ASEAN doesn't want to come up with a singular statement that says that, no, it's incorrect. Hindi dapat sa inyo yan, di ba? That's one issue. China seems to be spreading its wings so wide, so far, so high. I wonder if it can keep itself flying at the rate it's going. Because it's carrying more weight, it's getting fatter,
Yeah.
and the wings are getting longer but thinner.
And
ganon.
tired.
And getting tired, di ba?
Yeah.
So, if that collapses, everybody else will collapse with
Yes,
it.
yes. Now, it's going to be interesting next year. Why? Because the next chair to the Philippines in the ASEAN Summit is Singapore. Now, Singapore is not in the good graces of China.
No.
No.
But neither are they in any country. Correct me if I'm wrong, not even America.
Correct, yeah. The old Lee Kuan Yew, the late Lee Kuan Yew,
Yeah.
regarded himself as a teacher of China, not as a follower. You know?
Teacher.
Teacher. Now, the leadership of China, the collective leadership, especially the Communist Party Central Committee,
Yes.
now believe that Li Xiaolong, the son,
Yes.
who succeeded Lee Kuan Yew, is pro-Taipei, pro-Taiwan, baliktad.
Okay.
That's why he was not invited to the summit.
Oh, I see.
In-
Pro-Taipei pala siya.
Yes, he's pro-Taipei. That's how the Chinese, the Beijing ruling party regards him to be. Now, Singapore
Yung pala
was,
politics na. Hindi ko naintindihan yan. I didn't see that coming. Sige.
this is how geopolitics works, you know. And Singapore was insisting in the last meeting that Duterte should
Impose, yeah,
impose the
bring
rule
it
of
up.
law.
Rule of law.
But Duterte has a mind of his own, and he says, "No, let me handle this by
bilateral
myself."
lang, bilateral. Kami
Ako ang
lang.
chair ngayon eh. Ako ang chair ngayon. So, pabayaan niyo mo muna. Ito ang gagawin ko. He consulted them, obviously. No? And his position was, okay, let us not talk about the rule of law for now, on this Pratt list. But what did the Chinese do? This is one reason also that the credibility of the Chinese, as far as the one road, one belt is concerned, is not that much credible. What have they done? They have built silos. They have built rocket launching pods in the Mischief Reef. So, what will that be for? Is that to
Military,
ang sabi nila, no, it's not for offense, it's for defense. Defending against whom? That's the problem. And obviously, that sunk into the Communist Party leadership in China. That's why Xi Jinping said last week, there is still that kind of doubt on the part of the leaders of the world as far as our one road, one belt is concerned. Yeah.
Well, there was doubt when they set up the AIIB.
Exactly.
Then there is doubt again here.
Yeah.
Siyempre, because while their expansionism is being criticized, meantime, they're saying globalization. Di ba? Mali, you can't have one or the other. You
Yes,
have to be
yes.
consistent.
Yeah.
In this specific case, they are not consistent, no matter what Xi Jinping says.
Now, you have to also consider another factor as far as China is concerned, Russia.
Yun.
Why? Because Russia and China, if China keeps on growing and Russia does not, as it is expected to be, then Russia can be replaced by China as the leader of the communist world. And that is not good for Vladimir
Si Putin, ayaw
yeah,
niya.
ayaw niya yan, no? So, that can be an internal silent, what
A
you
new
call,
Cold War between them.
not only that, that could be the tide, that will pull China down to the middle of the ocean and might drown it. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So, that is something that we all have to watch out for. So, what do you have to watch out for?
But there's no pivot to Southeast Asia, as Putin clearly said to our president, di ba, last week.
No, there is an inroad now.
Yeah,
because
pero
they're
economic.
coming.
But
Yes.
there is no military, there is
None.
no presence,
None.
nor do they want it.
Nah, they don't want any base, they don't want any, but they are now conducting,
May exercises. We just
Exercises.
had it here, di
Yes,
ba? We just
yes.
had their ships here.
yes,
Pero economic ang turning point nila sa ASEAN
yes,
more than anything else.
because they've learned that China progressed more, economically speaking, than militarily, which was the other way around with Russia. So they're now saying, okay, it's now our turn.
Economic naman sila.
Economic naman sila.
Pero ang mali ng China, while they're saying that with one voice, they're also doing something else.
Yun. Because they're scared of the Americans on the South China Sea. You see?
Without the South China Sea, madali maubos in China because yan ang trading route nila, traditional trading route. And they can't go, well, no, they opened up the new canal in Thailand, so that's
Yes.
going to be good for them. It's less, hindi na bababa ka ng
Yung
Sri
Kra
Lanka.
Canal, yeah.
May cut across ka na,
Yes,
which shortens the period of travel.
Yeah, but
Because-
there's something else. The South China Sea could be a choke point for China,
Of course.
but they don't. There's something else. There's a weaker point of China. It's the Sunda, and the Malacca Strait,
The Malacca Strait.
which is controlled by
America.
controlled by the Indonesians, the Malaysians, the Singaporeans,
The Malacca Strait.
and the Thais, because
The Thais.
they're all in there.
They're all in there.
If
Mga bayan nila yun, doon
Oh.
dadaan.
And if China doesn't treat them right, they might not like
Allow.
the whole thing. Yes. So you see, they didn't go to the one road, one belt. Thailand, Singapore,
same countries.
and Brunei did not go.
Except for Indonesia.
But Indonesia went, because Widodo wanted to be a friend of everybody.
Like Duterte.
Just like Duterte, yeah. So that is something that's where the flexibility of these leaders you will find,
But in the end, as everyone flexes their muscles, they try to go to spring themselves, leapfrog others into better dispositions. At the end of the road, everything is about food security.
Yes, yes.
Kasi pag diyan ka nagkulang,
ayun, patay ka.
it don't matter. May pera ka, wala ka namang pagkain, walang mabili.
Pwede ka hindi kumain for 49 days. Pero hindi ka pwedeng hindi uminom ng 3 araw, patay ka. That's the point.
And to think there are countries like Singapore dependent 100% on Johor. That's where they bring all their water in.
No more.
Ay, hindi na ba?
Desalination na sila.
Desalination na. Baka meron ng gano'n ng China, may desalination na rin sila.
They have. They have, yeah. Because the other part, across the lower bridge from Hong Kong, they don't depend. Hong Kong does not depend on China anymore for water. They have their own desalination.
Iba pa rin.
1965 pa.
Okay. Alam ko, Singapore, when I lived there, we were still buying the water in Johor. Ngayon,
Yes,
hindi na, nag-desalinate na sila.
Hindi na,
Well, tayo, we don't have that much of a problem with the water. Unless, of course, the Zamoras and the mining companies continue their dreaded acts and continue killing our water sources, no? Yun, which they seem to have succeeded using the Senate and Congress to promote their degradation of our environment. Mukhang ganun ang takbo eh. Maybe we should export Gina Lopez to China, no? Baka makatulong doon, ano? Kulang sila ng Gina Lopez doon, ano? Parang ganun eh.
Pero he will be competing against the Communist Party.
Ayun, talo ka doon sa Communist Party.
That's the other side of the coin.
Yun, the God is money.
Yes.
Money prevails. But they don't forget, even if you have money, wala kang pagkain, mamamatay ka rin. Di ba?
Yun ang sinasabi ng ating mga environmentalists dito, which has not been heard by the collective leadership, really. That's why the DNR should really have the critical thinking and should have the up-to-date survey of our natural resources.
Ito, sidetrack. Si Matu is the new guy. Okay ba yan? Parang kumuha ka ng engineer na mag-operate sa katawan ng trabaho ng doktor, di ba? I mean, military eh. I mean, ano know-how niya sa environment?
But he has one advantage over a person like Gina.
Which is?
Why? Because he has the discipline to prioritize and time management.
To work with everybody.
To work with the scientists. And I know now that he's working with scientists. Ang problema niya is, ang tingin sa kanya, wala siyang nalalaman sa environment.
Yun ang tingin ko sa kanya eh. Sundalo, naging environment.
Exactly. Sundalo, ang alam lang, bumarel, no? Yun ang sinasabi. But I think this guy, over the last few weeks, have been studying very well.
Yeah, but should we get somebody to study on the job, or shouldn't we get somebody who's already in that job, an expert of that?
We should be getting more people who are scientists, but who know the culture of the place.
Ayun.
Because our own provinces have different cultures and different practices.
I believe the problem of mining in this country is not necessarily just the Senate, Congress, and Gina Lopez, or even the competence or incompetence of people that are being replaced or brought in. It's the law that is problematic. The Mining Act is all messed up. Dapat yun ang unang palitan eh. That allows them to degrade our environment.
Not only that, DNR does not have enough people to go
check.
and inspect.
Kulang.
You know how many foresters we had? We have less than 8,000 foresters.
For a country as big as the Philippines.
For a country with 30 million square miles.
Yeah. Gil, we're down in our last 2 minutes. Your message to all our viewers when we go back to the concept of China, the almighty power called China.
What my message is this. China is mighty, China is progressive, economically speaking right now, but China speaks on both sides of the mouth. They do one thing and they speak another. They are in the diplomatic offensive, meaning soft talk. But what are they doing in the South China Sea? What we have to do with the South China Sea, because of the different lives in there, we sit on top of the triangle, of the coral triangle. And can you imagine how much food, marine food, seafood that we can generate out of there? We can feed half of the world immediately. You know, just get the investors in the manufacturing, and we can export that. You know, I have seen Starkist, which is an American shipping, fishing, and canning factory, and they can do it because they adopted the modern technologies. They have radars, they have helicopters, they can see the schools of fishes, and they know how to preserve the schools, because you don't just get them all and have nothing else the next day. You know, you must have sustainability. Therefore, what we need now are the following. One, let us have very, very good and very systematic, scientific, yet they know the culture of the people, what we call resource managers. They must be able to manage our natural resources, including human resources, how to make it sustainable. Because unless we are sustained, walang continuity, matatapos kinabukasan, patay din tayo. Pangalawa, what we need here are communicators, because the scientists themselves are not communicators, most of them. They cannot explain the complex scientific terms to the people. Pag sinabi mo dun sa tao, you have bursitis. Ano ba yung bursitis? You have to explain what it is. You know, when you say you have tonsillitis, ang alam nila, namamaga yung lalamunan mo. No? So you have to do that in simple terms. In short, pag sinabi mo, you have forest degradation or deforestation, ano ibig sabihin talaga niyan? Kung magagawa mo yan, mayroon tayong tinatawag na communicators, maipaliliwanag din sa mga taong bayan, doon sa kanilang dialect, sa kanilang salita. Yon, maintindihan. At pwede yung ating mga magsasaka ay tumanggap ng mga makabagong paraan at saka technology, kung tawagin sa English, para yung ating pagsasaka ay lumago at tayo ay maging sapat sa ating pagkain at tubig. Yun lang.
Thank you very much, Gil. We have surpassed our time as usual, but we make every second, every minute that we do extend, we hope helps you understand to generate, again, critical thought para magkaintindihan po tayo at tama naman mga desisyon natin sa mga bagay na kailangang pag-usapan. Maraming salamat po. My name is Harry Tambuatco, and you'll be watching this, well, again tomorrow morning at 8 in the morning. So 8 at night, Monday night, and 8 in the morning, Tuesday. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Professor.
thanks, Harry.